Hello, this is Lori Nagel, and I'm live now, I hope. I haven't really done a lot of Facebook Lives, I've just done a few. So this is actually my third Facebook Live. My first one I did was in somebody else's group, and it just took me forever to figure out what I was supposed to be doing. And my second one was in my own group, so I had an idea of what I was doing, and this is actually just my third one. So when you think of somebody who's a network expert, somebody who knows everything there is to know about social networking, you probably think of the most social person you know, somebody who already knows everybody. But I think that's actually a really bad place to start, because for people like that, it's almost natural to them. It's like breathing. They're already out there socializing with everybody. But for a lot of people, that's not true. They just like to stay in their little groups of friends, of people who already know them well, who already get them, who they already have a lot in common with. Maybe they're local people that they know well, or maybe just groups of people who share their interests. And it's easy to just stay in those little groups, and then even if you move somewhere else, you'll just find people with the same hobbies and the same lifestyles, and it's easy to stay in those circles. And a lot of people do that and think, well, I'll just do that and I'll be successful in business, but it doesn't really work like that. And thinking about relationships in a different way is necessary if you want to be successful in business. And it's necessary if you want to achieve really big, world-changing goals. You can't just network with people who are like you, because it's not enough, because you're only getting one perspective of how things are. So it's hard to change the world if you're just hanging out with others who are like you. And I think sometimes people think, well, I know how to network. I have a lot of people on my Facebook. I have over 5,000 friends. I'm good. They think they have a big audience. So even if it seems like you have a broad audience and a lot of people like you or what you're doing, or you're talking to a lot of people, you're not really getting as wide of a perspective as you might need if you want to achieve your goals. And especially if they're really, really big goals. You can't just stay with people who are like you. You have to meet people who are different than you. And that's what expanding your network outside of your current social circles is all about. So when you think of yourself, you have certain qualities that you have. You probably have a certain religion or spiritual practice or lack thereof. You probably have certain political views. You probably have certain hobbies and interests. You probably have a certain profession. You probably have a certain lifestyle. You probably have certain ideas about money, about poverty. You probably belong to a certain ethnic group. I mean, there are just so many things where people restrict themselves to one sort of social group that doesn't necessarily seem to overlap with a lot of other ones. And a lot of people think, well, this is fine. And maybe it is for you, but if you're growing your business, if you have a really, really big, impossible sounding goal, that's not going to cut it. So networking outside of your social circles is something that's really essential to do. And what makes me qualified to help people with that? And I know this sounds really surprising, but instead of being a really social person who knows everybody and just wants to socialize all the time, I was a hermit for a long time. I did not want to put myself out there at all. I just wanted to stay in the house, read a book, not talk to anybody. So it's actually, if you're starting from zero, if you're starting from scratch, if you have to reconstruct your social network entirely, you should probably talk to me, because I've been through that. And I know that sounds like, how can you start from scratch and then become the most known person in the world? How could you even do that? Those things are opposites, but things that are opposites, if you put them together, you can actually accomplish anything. If you're trying to sell something in a business, you have something, and your clients don't have that, and that's what they want. So you want to actually attract people who are opposite from you. But it's hard to talk to people who are so different from you unless you also have something in common with them. And so what I do is I help you find what all your groups are that you belong to, that you feel comfortable with, and then we find what the opposite of all of those things are. And we find out the people that, maybe people in your circles don't think so highly of. But we're not going to do anything that's like against your nature. We're just going to do things that people in your current social circles might not agree with. So what you're going to do is you're going to be meeting people who think differently than the people in your current circles. So the important thing when stepping outside your circles is to be introducing yourself to different ways of thinking about problems. In fact, that's how Elon Musk got rich. I mean, you could say, well, he was born rich and he had that background. But he wasn't really that well liked at all. But what he did was he found people who were like him, but different. And he basically had to talk to different sorts of people to be able to accomplish what he did. And this is for every big goal that you might have. Whether that's going to Mars or just making your business really huge. And in fact, that's one of the things about Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg realized that Facebook, that was what was valuable that he got from school. It wasn't the academic knowledge. You can get the same courses in a community college that you get at Harvard. You get the same professors. In fact, I went to community college and I had one of the same professors that used to work at Yale. So that sounds pretty impressive, right? You're getting the same professors that you would get at Ivy League. But what does Ivy League school have that a small community college does not, that's so valuable? It's the social network of those people at the school. But we have Facebook, so really everybody could be just as wealthy as that, but they're not taking advantage of it because people aren't networking with people who are different. They're continually just networking with people like themselves. So that's really why a lot of people are stuck and can't achieve their goals, because they're not networking with people outside of their circles. They're not using it to its full potential because they just don't see that potential at all. They just continue with the same behaviors that they had before social networking, the same behaviors that they had before they decided to start a business, the same behaviors that they had before they decided they wanted to go after big goals, and just not doing it because they feel stuck, because they have certain ideas and mindsets about socializing and networking that just don't work for what they're trying to do, and then they don't know how to get out of them. And I don't have all the answers either. Those are the answers that people have to decide for themselves, what's important in their life. But what I can do is I can set an example myself, and I can help people get unstuck in their thinking. And not because of what I say and what I do, but because people can look at themselves and look at their social networks and see how they can get unstuck and see how they can get outside of those networks and outside of those ways of thinking without compromising who they are. You don't have to be a completely different person to do that. You just have to realize that people around you might not always know what you really want. They don't necessarily agree with who you are. You are not the sum of the 5 people closest to you. You're not the sum of your family and friends. You're your own person. So, if you want to connect with me on Facebook, I'm going to probably link my profile underneath this video. Well, I mean, you can find my profile. My website isn't up yet because I am totally redoing it. And you can always connect with me on Facebook. And I also have a YouTube channel, which I will leave a link to under this video after it is finished, so that you can follow that as well. So that's another place. And any other social media profiles that I have that I want to make public, I can also leave underneath there, so you can find me and just find more of my stuff. And I do have an offer right now for 8 weeks for people who are really interested in getting out of their social circles and really stuck in this mindset about networking. So it's $2,500 for 8 weeks and 8 sessions. But the first few sessions are going to be a lot closer together because it's establishing a baseline. It's establishing what you're going to do. And then like the last 4 sessions are basically just accountability sessions. And the reason I keep it to 8 weeks is because I don't want people hanging on me and just kind of using me as their one close relationship and one person that they talk to, because the point is to talk to a lot of different people in a lot of different situations and meet new people constantly. So it's critical that I don't become that one go-to person, which is why it's only 8 weeks. And if that's too much money for you, feel free to just binge watch all of my content, recommend it to your friends, and just think about how your social circles are too constricting for you and how to step outside of them. So I don't really have anything else to add right now, and I don't want to go over, so I'll just leave it at that. Feel free to leave any questions underneath,